You really think I'm just another angry black woman, huh? Her voice sliced through the silence, calm, but cold. You should have checked who you were arresting. Flash. A still image fills the screen. A woman, pressed against a police car. Eyes calm, arms restrained, a faint bruise on her cheek, and a Navy SEAL tattoo, half hidden beneath her sleeve. Cut to black. The narrator speaks, low, deliberate. What happens when a lie walks into a courtroom and meets someone who's trained to destroy deception? This is not just a legal case. It's not just about a police report or a body cam that malfunctioned. This is a story about power, about identity, about how far someone will go to silence a truth, and how one woman, Riley Moore, refused to stay silent. They thought she was just another defendant. But what the courtroom didn't know was that Riley had spent 2 decades serving in the Navy, commanding elite teams, disarming bombs, both literal and political. She's calm for a reason. She's still for a reason. She's about to turn this trial into a reckoning. And Officer Logan Tate, he has no idea what's coming, but you will. Let's begin. The courthouse stood like a relic, pillars chipped, but proud. History pressed into every corner. Some stories it had witnessed, it would rather forget. Inside, the air was thick, reporters whispered. Spectators craned their necks. And somewhere in the back, someone muttered, "This one's gonna be different." Riley Moore sat at the defense table, back straight, hands folded, face unreadable. Her white blouse pressed, blazer dark navy, like a uniform but not quite. Nothing flashy, everything deliberate. To the casual eye, she looked composed. To a trained eye, she looked ready. Sitting beside her, Eli Bennett, late 20s, wide-eyed, tie slightly crooked. He shuffled through his notes like they were slipping from his fingers. This was his first big case, and deep down, he wasn't sure if he was here to defend her or to learn from her. Across the room sat Officer Logan Tate, built broad, uniform crisp, chin lifted, not from pride, but habit. He leaned back in his chair like he belonged there, like he had won this case before it even started. Next to him, the prosecutor, D.A. Stone, polished, precise, voice like marble, cold and smooth. Behind Tate, a row of uniformed officers, silent, aligned, eyes locked on Riley. Not one looked away. The bailiff's voice rang out, "All rise." Everyone stood. Wooden benches creaked, heels clicked, cameras clicked. Judge Whitaker entered. Gray suit, silver hair, eyes sharp, but tired. He'd seen 1,000 cases, but today, something in the air pulled at him. He sat, be seated. The room exhaled. Then, for a moment, stillness. The kind you feel right before the wind shifts. State versus Riley Moore, the bailiff announced. And just like that, the game began. Officer Logan Tate rose from his seat like he'd done it 100 times. Because he had. He didn't walk to the stand. He performed his way there. Polished shoes, confident gait, eyes scanning the room like a lion surveying the savannah. He adjusted his badge just slightly, then sat down. "Officer Tate," D.A. Stone began. "Tell us what happened the night of the arrest." Tate leaned in, spoke clearly, steady, rehearsed. "I received a disturbance call. 10:43 p.m. Closed business on Ash and 5th. He glanced at Riley. She didn't move, didn't blink. When I arrived, I saw the defendant loitering outside the storefront. A murmur in the gallery. Loitering. One word, loaded with history. I asked her to identify herself. She refused. She raised her voice, got aggressive. I tried to de-escalate. She struck me." He paused, and then she reached for my weapon. Gasps. No one shouted, but the silence grew sharp, Riley sat still, but her eyes watched everything. Eli leaned slightly toward her, whispered, "Stick to the plan." She gave the faintest nod. Tate shifted. Now came the part where most people misspeak, and he didn't disappoint. "Look, I've been on the job over a decade." He said it like it meant something bigger. "I've dealt with plenty of people like her." The room stopped. That phrase, "people like her," someone coughed. Someone whispered. Judge Whitaker raised an eyebrow. Didn't say a word. He didn't have to. The damage was done. Tate cleared his throat, tried to recover. "I did what I had to do to control the situation." She resisted. "I responded with appropriate force." DA Stone stepped in, trying to redirect. "And you believe your actions were consistent with department protocol?" "Absolutely." "Body cam footage?" Tate hesitated. "Too long. It malfunctioned." Another whisper in the gallery. "The same one from before. How convenient." Judge Whitaker tapped the gavel, gently. "Let's stay focused." DA Stone nodded. No further questions. Tate stepped down. As he passed Riley, he smirked, barely. But it was there. A twitch in the corner of his mouth. The kind of smile someone wears when they think the game's already over. He sat, folded his arms, and for a moment, he looked invincible. But only for a moment. "Ms. Moore," Judge Whitaker said, "you may take the stand." Riley stood, no words, no glances. She adjusted her blazer, then walked. Not rushed, not timid, just steady, like someone who had walked through worse than anything this courtroom could offer. She sat down, placed her hands on the rail, fingers still. She took a breath, not for nerves, but for control. The prosecutor stood. "Ms. Moore," he said, "can you walk us through your version of events?" She leaned forward slightly, voice calm, eyes direct. "I was heading home. Late, quiet night. Stopped to check my phone for directions. That's when Officer Tate approached me. And what did he say? He asked what I was doing." She paused. He shined his flashlight in my eyes. Tone wasn't casual, wasn't friendly. "How did you respond?" "I told him I was checking directions." He asked for ID. I asked why. A few heads in the gallery tilted, eyes narrowed. They were listening now. "Did you raise your voice?" "No." "Did you refuse to comply?" I asked a question. Her voice didn't rise, but her words landed with weight. "He told me I was being difficult. Said I needed to learn how to listen." Gasps. No one moved, not even the judge. "Did he touch you?" "Yes." He grabbed my arm. "What did you do?" "Told him to let go." "He didn't." "Then what happened?" "He slammed me against his car, cuffed me, said I was under arrest for assaulting an officer." The prosecutor stepped forward, voice tightening. "Did you reach for his weapon?" Riley didn't blink. "No." "Did you strike him?" "No." "You're asking us to believe that everything he said is false." "I'm saying I wasn't a threat." She looked at the jury now, not to persuade, to expose. I was calm. I was clear. I was polite. He didn't see that. He saw a black woman who dared to ask why. Eli stood. "Your Honor, with permission, I'd like to continue with redirect." "Granted." He stepped closer, his voice steadier than before. "Riley, did you ever fight back?" "No." "Why didn't you?" She paused. "Longer this time, because I've spent my whole life being taught how dangerous it is, just to exist in my own skin." Silence. The kind that hurts. Eli softened. "Were you scared?" Riley looked down, then up again. "I wasn't scared of him. I was scared of what he represented, which is a system. That doesn't see me as real until I'm broken." Eli turned to the jury. "Do you believe her?" "You should, because in 5 minutes, this courtroom is going to see something that Tate didn't want you to see." He walked back to the defense table, plugged in a USB, and then, "You'll understand why the truth was never supposed to make it in here." Fade to black. The lights dimmed, the screen flickered, and just like that, the courtroom wasn't listening anymore. They were watching. The footage was rough, shaky, filmed through a car window, but the sound? Crystal clear. Tate's voice rang out. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Then, Riley's, firm, calm. "I'm not resisting. Please, let go of my arm." The gallery shifted. Postures straightened, eyes sharpened, breaths held. On screen, Tate yanked her by the wrist, spun her, slammed her against the patrol car. "Women like you don't get to question me," he snarled. Explosion. Not literal. Emotional. People gasped. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Someone else? Did he really just say that? Judge Whitaker banged his gavel. Once, twice, then again. "Order! This courtroom will maintain..." He stopped. Even he couldn't pretend anymore. Tate sat frozen, face pale, hands clenched. D.A. Stone looked broken, like the foundation beneath him just cracked. Eli didn't say a word. He let the screen speak, let the truth echo. The video ended. The room didn't move. A full 5 seconds of silence. A silence louder than any outburst. Then Riley stood. Not required, not asked. She just did. Her voice was quiet, but it carried. He thought no one was watching. He thought I'd be just another name in a file no one reads. But now, you've seen it. She turned to the jury. You can't unsee it. Judge Whitaker spoke, slower than usual. The evidence is entered into the record. His voice betrayed something new. Maybe disbelief, maybe regret. D.A. Stone stood but didn't approach. He simply said, "No questions at this time." Tate still didn't move, didn't speak, didn't blink. Eli leaned over to Riley, voice low. "That wall? We just cracked it." She nodded, eyes still locked on Tate. "Now we bring the whole thing down." Recess was called, but no one really left. Reporters huddled near the exits. Phones lit up. Whispers flew faster than rulings. Inside, the silence hung heavy, like the courtroom itself was waiting for permission to breathe again. Riley sat at the defense table, Eli beside her. He wasn't pacing this time. He was planning. "Are you ready to drop it?" She didn't answer immediately. Then, softly, "Yeah, it's time." When court reconvened, Judge Whitaker looked different. Still in his robes, still composed, but his eyes weren't neutral anymore. "Mr. Bennett," he said, "you may proceed." Eli stood, voice clear. "The defense would like to submit additional evidence regarding the character and credibility of the arresting officer." D.A. Stone rose. "Your Honor, we object." Overruled. Judge Whitaker didn't hesitate. Eli held up a folder, worn at the edges, heavy with weight. "Officer Tate has been the subject of no fewer than 11 internal complaints. Excessive force, targeted stops based on race, unlawful search." He passed copies to the jury. Murmurs returned, but now with edge, like anger, finding shape. "These complaints," Eli continued, "were buried, ignored, silenced, just like he tried to silence Riley Moore." Tate looked up for the first time in minutes, jaw clenched, fists tighter, but he didn't speak. He couldn't. Eli turned, faced Riley. "Mrs. Moore, there's one more thing the jury, and this court, deserves to know." She stood. The moment stretched. And then, "My name is Lieutenant Commander Riley Moore, United States Navy, retired." You could hear it. The collective gasp. But it wasn't shock. It was recalibration. The gallery looked at her differently. So did the jury. Even the judge sat back. Just slightly. "For 20 years, she continued, I served this country. In uniform, in war zones, in silence. I've led elite teams into places most of you will never hear about. I've defused bombs, both on foreign soil and here. And yet, None of that mattered the night Officer Tate decided my voice wasn't worth hearing. She turned to him. Finally, you saw me as a threat because I wouldn't bow. You thought I was just another black woman who didn't know her place. Her voice stayed low, even, deadly. But I've faced worse men than you, Officer Tate, and they didn't break me either. Silence, but not the uncertain kind anymore. This silence, it burned. Eli stepped in. Ladies and gentlemen, she didn't fight him. She didn't run. She didn't even raise her voice, because even when disrespected, degraded, and detained, she remembered her training. She remembered her dignity. And that is exactly what he underestimated. Judge Whitaker adjusted his glasses, then looked at Tate. His stare didn't say guilty. It said, "You're done." The jury deliberated for 2 hours, but time felt irrelevant. Inside the courthouse, every breath waited. Every glance searched for signs. Every heart leaned toward a hope no one dared to say out loud. Then, the door opened. The jury returned. 12 faces, some tired, some hardened, but all of them focused. Judge Whitaker leaned forward. As the jury reached a verdict, the foreperson stood, middle-aged, steady, voice clear. "We have, Your Honor." She unfolded the paper. "Read aloud. In the case of the state versus Riley Moore, we find the defendant not guilty." Gasps, hands to mouths, exhales, long overdue. Someone cried quietly in the back. Riley didn't smile. She just closed her eyes. 1 second, then opened them again. Still standing, still whole, but the foreperson wasn't done. Furthermore, we recommend a formal investigation into the conduct of Officer Logan Tate. We believe his actions warrant disciplinary review and possible criminal charges. Tate didn't react, didn't blink. His face said it all. This wasn't just a loss. This was exposure. Judge Whitaker gave one nod. Not approval, not celebration, just acknowledgement that justice had finally moved. Outside, the press waited, but Riley didn't rush out. She moved with intention, as she always had. Cameras clicked, questions flew, but she raised a hand, gently, and the noise faded. She looked into the crowd, not at the reporters, at the people. This wasn't just about me. It never was. This was about what happens when power forgets it serves the people, not itself. I didn't stand up here because I'm special. I stood up because I could. She paused, eyes sweeping across the quiet. There are others who can't, whose voices never make it into a courtroom, whose names never get cleared. So if I leave you with anything, let it be this: the truth doesn't always scream. Sometimes it stands still and waits for someone brave enough to carry it forward. She turned, walked down the courthouse steps. No applause, no victory music, just silence, and the sound of a system being held accountable. Riley Moore didn't fight for justice because she wanted to. She fought because too many couldn't. And now, she walks free. But she's not done walking. Not yet. You just witnessed a trial. A lie exposed. A woman dismissed, who stood up and made the system flinch. But the real question is, if you were in her place, profiled, silenced, humiliated just for asking why, would you stay quiet, or would you stand up? Even if your voice shakes, if this story stirred something inside you, don't let that feeling pass. Leave a comment, share it, speak it, because maybe, just maybe, you're not the only one who's ever felt invisible. I'm KaYi, and this is where stories like these are told, so no one has to fight alone.